here it's quite
okay, go
annoying.
ahead. Again.
Hi, and welcome to the BujinTV Insight Interview series. My name's James Pankovic, and I'm joined today by Christian Romanelli.
Hey, everybody. I have to say that today I am genuinely excited by our special, very special guest.
Me too, Chris. I think this is going to be a fun one. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Tuari Dawson. Sensei, how are things down in New Zealand? I hear that you are COVID-free and life is kind of back to normal. Is that true?
Yeah, life is pretty good, actually. And we're very lucky in New Zealand in that we have a Prime Minister who, as soon as the alert happened, closed the borders. But I certainly feel a lot for our friends around the world, our Bujin family who are having difficulties with. It is really lovely down here. We're in summer, and which is a great time to get out and do some more filming for BujinTV. So you're feeling really good, feeling really positive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping today that we can give a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of an uplift to everybody by going through one of your fantastic videos, which is on BujinTV. But before we go into the details of the video, tell us a little bit more about yourself, please.
Well, I'm an Aquarian who enjoys long. I'm just looking for someone that will. I mean, what do we? Sorry, this is not one of those swipe left things.
That was the other video. That was the other video.
Sorry. So I always get those two mixed up. So my martial arts background was I started as a kid with two of my uncles in Kyokushin karate and Nakajima judo, and migrated as a child from Kyokushin to Okinawan Gojuryu, of which I'm still a student. I've been very lucky. I was formerly a member of the OGKF, which was a really valuable learning step. And then to Jundokan International with the late Sensei Turo Chinen. And now I'm an independent. I also study Myojin Soga Nihon Jiu-Jitsu and have a background in our traditional indigenous martial arts here, the Maori martial arts in New Zealand.
Fantastic. I mean, that's an amazing pedigree. I personally, that's kind of the thing that joins us together. But the other things that we bring to the table, and your insights into, for example, Maori martial arts is something that I'm really looking forward to seeing over time as you share that with us on BujinTV. Today, we're going to take a look at you've put up recently about kakie practice. I mean, you and I have been online together recently, going through and doing some kakie practice. So we both know that we're big fans of it as part of our training. But I wanted to do a bit about your kakie training here, how you see it. What's it useful for? Where do you think that you'll go with your kakie practice, for example?
Sure. Well, I think for me, I also want to just do a quick shout out to my uke, my kind uke, and who's my karate brother, Sensei Mike Dombrowski from Okinawan Gojuryu, New Zealand, who very kindly got together and made me look really cool, cooler than I actually am. I think kakie, for me, I, as a young man, did a lot of door work, and I've got a background in security. Now, the people that I trained with were predominantly all my senpai in Gojuryu, and we're of kakie, especially in regard because you're working in close quarters a lot, and of course Gojuryu is a close quarter style. Along with our regular practice, we're very much into kakie. I've met a lot of people who took a creative approach to kakie and looked at it from the perspective of less of a strength building exercise and more about gaining that sensitivity. When you're close to someone in close quarters, you can feel someone move and you can tell by the intensity of that movement, if you've trained, whether or not they're going to swing a punch. Now, the best case scenario in any situation is you've probably got a 30% chance of prevailing. And of course, the idea of karate really is to take evasive maneuvers, not put yourself in those situations. And I think with kakie is about sensing, for want of a better word, the intentions of people in a physical sense, but I think it also encourages sensitivity on a lot of other levels. And it can be the tone of someone's voice, and I'm talking in relation to security and door work, people's, and borrowing a term from Bruce Lee, emotional and intensive intention. And I think kakie is also, aside from being something which can really improve your overall technique, I think it encourages a healthy relationship with other people in the dojo too. People talk a lot about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is a wonderful style, and in judo and in karate, we all have the tap, right? So we all tap to do the 3 taps when the technique is applied and is effective. I think kakie is a wonderful way of getting rid of ego and embracing being invested in mutual exchange. And I think that's what Makeda, who's an incredible Filipino artist, describes training with a partner he likened it to, it should be a conversation and not an argument. And I think kakie offers a really good opportunity to embrace some of those concepts. And I note that when we did our seminar, that we had lots of different people from different styles, from different duha and so on, but we all had a very similar objective, and that's really to gain a and I think that irrespective of style, there's something in it for everybody, but you have to find people who are willing to put it on the line in the sense that it's not about winning or losing, it's about the mutual understanding and growth.
Would you say, Sensei, that kakie is one of those techniques that allow you to cross-train among different styles? Because I've seen that you complement your kakie movement, finalize your kakie movements with ikkyo or nikyo from Aikido, or finishing with some other really cool movements, Teisho, for example.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Sensei. I guess the thing for me is that you get to work on a technique in an environment which is, let's be honest, is safe, or at least one where you having the freedom to experiment. And I think the thing which I really enjoy about it, if you're training with someone who is a different style, a different approach, a different build, a different gender, a different weight or height, then you're getting to understand what makes you strong and what makes. I've often had, like, I'm 6'4", so a reasonably big guy, and I've often found problems dealing with people who are like 5'6", 5'7", because my center of gravity tends to be on my toes because I'm having to drop down. So it's a wonderful way, with regular training, having great instruction, with lots of hojondo. Hojondo is an integral part as well, to really test your technique in a way that allows you to be fully creative. And you put newaza, ashibarai, all those sort of things in there. It's whatever you want to make it. If you're with a good partner, it can go anywhere, and it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, the thing that I notice whenever you're doing your kakie is you're smiling and you're enjoying it, and I'm very much the same way. Like you say, it's a great way to literally put hands together. In Japanese that's tegumi. Putting the hands together. It's a great form of tegumi, or even kumite, same word, the other way around. And our karate is built around putting hands on, right? Putting hands together and actually, getting a feel for how you can actually execute your karate and how the other person is going to react and move to that. And like you say, that's their physical, you can feel their physical reaction, but also, you get a sense of their emotional state too. And, you've done jobs in the past and perhaps even now where understanding somebody's emotional state is just as an important self-defense skill as being able to deal with, whatever kind of physical attack that they might be throwing at you.
Yeah, I mean, and I think too, what tends to happen is you'll find when you get together with someone who you've never done kakia with before, you'll fall back on specific techniques that have worked for you. But if you get a really good partner, you as a technique is applied to you, you're seeing something which completely change your perspective on what you're doing. And I think that's one of the things I really love about it. If I'm smiling, it's one because I'm probably gritting my teeth. And two, I think that it should be an enjoyable process. Learning should be an enjoyable process. It's not to say that you don't blow zanchin, but I think that if you approach it with the perspective of trying to be as open as possible, I think you can take a lot away. But that's a challenge for all of us. I mean, I certainly like to win. I'm a competitive person. I like to have the upper hand, but I find with kakia that helps me diminish that attitude somewhat. So I really enjoy the practice. It's a good part and parcel of all those other wonderful exercises that we have in Okinawan karate. Now, there's a particular practitioner that I wanted to do a shout out to, Derek English, who was one of Waihara Sensei's students who lives here in New Zealand, and I've had an opportunity on a number of occasions to train with him. And the way that he does kaki is like I've never seen. So as an example, I'm spending half an hour doing kaki with him, and I feel like I've had a 6-month lesson with a senpai. So it's just a wonderful experience.
Wow. Well, I'm maybe hoping one day we can get him into an online kakie session. That would be awesome.
Likewise.
Well,
okay.
For me, it's very important to try and look for flow in your practice instead of being really stiff on any movement that you do. And I found out that kakie is a great way to find that flow in the movement and combine with the footsteps and the taisabaki, then you are able to understand your center of gravity on how can you deflect an attack, or how can you get out of a way of a straight attack. So kakie practice for me, it's really, really important. And I will the one phrase that always sensei that I speak with you, there is one phrase that stuck me. On every conversation we have, I always take one phrase from you. And from this video, when you said that kakie is a conversation, it is a very powerful phrase that we have to leave the ego behind when we do practice kakie. So thank you for that phrase.
No, thank you. And I think the kakie, if you find a good group of people to do it with, and you've got to show a level of vulnerability yourself. That's one of the ways that you can demonstrate that actually vulnerability, there's strength in vulnerability. We oftentimes, if you're coming from some Japanese styles, certain Japanese styles, there's a very much kind of a dependence on the self and believing that you're the end all and be all. Kakie is vulnerability and the power that comes from vulnerability. And the power that comes from vulnerability is being able to understand yourself, karate, and be honest about that. And that's the greatest gift of kakie to my mind.
Well, Tuari Sensei, thank you. Some awesome insights today. I can only recommend people to check out your videos on BujinTV. I'm sure that you're going to have a lot more to come in the future as well. And again, huge thanks. Thank you for joining us today. Tuari Dawson Sensei.
Thanks, guys. Don't forget BujinTV for life.